For those of us who are very familiar with Lagos, we have had it good in the transportation and ease of traffic. Our health and environment has improved considerably. In the education sector, we have had it good in addition to comparing with other destinations in terms of technological advancement. Lagos is becoming a 21st century economy. When we talk about entertainment and tourism, Lagos has become the desired destination. We can all sleep with our two eyes closed because Lagos has prioritized security and good governance. All these and more, this man has promised in his second coming. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together as I invite our award-winning, trailblazing governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, to deliver his keynote address to the people of Lagos.
Báyìí gómìnà wa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó tí wọ́n ti fira wọn hàn bí akíkanjú ọkùnrin ní ìpele gbogbo. Ṣé ti ìgbòkègbodò ọkọ̀ tó ti jágere ní ká sọ ni? Àbí ti ètò ìlera ohun àyíká tó jíire? Ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tínú ẹ̀ ń jò geere ní ká wí ni? Àbí ti ìrìn àjò afẹ́ ohun ìdárayá lọ́lọ́kùn òjọ̀kan? Gbogbo wa là ń sùn tá à ń họrun lọ́ọ̀dẹ̀ wa lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ààbò. Ó yẹ ká lù wọ́n lọ́gọ̀ọ́ ẹnu pé wọ́n kú iṣẹ́ ọpọlọ. Ó pọ̀ omi pọ̀ lámù fún wọn níṣẹ́ tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kí wọn káàbọ̀ ká tẹ́tí bẹ̀lẹ̀ jẹ́ láti gbọ́ ohun tí wọ́n ní sọ fún wa ní sáà kejì tí a ti wà nínú ẹ̀ yìí.
Thank you very much. Ẹ ṣé o. Ẹ ṣé. Òyìnbó gan pọ̀. Yorùbá náà pọ̀. Thank you very much. Good morning, Lagos. Thank you very, very much. We're happy, we're excited to be here this morning. Let me very quickly, just tiptoe the protocol list that I have. It's about 7 pages, but there's no way I can do up to 7 pages. Mr. Deputy Governor, they've all been acknowledged. Thank you very much. I think you should have your seat here when we start this interactive session, so that it's a double ticket. As you are taking, if they are hitting me one side, you'll also take the bullet on another side. Let me give you a round of applause for Mr. Deputy Governor. Eshegonio, thank you very much. You know, you cannot clap with one hand. Is that not what they say? You need both hands to be able to clap. Members of the National Assembly that are here, especially distinguished Senator, a former Deputy Governor of our state, Senator Idiat Dr. Adebule, thank you very much for finding time to be here. Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, here represented by Honorable Stephen Ogundipe, thank you very much. Our best regards to the Speaker and other members of this House of Assembly. The Chief Judge also here, Honorable Justice Kazim Aluba, here ably represented by the Chief Registrar, Mr. T.A. Elias. Thank you very much. Our best regards to Honorable Chief Judge, former Deputy Governor, Your Excellencies that are here. I acknowledge all cabinet members that are here, SSG, permanent secretaries. I acknowledge all of our former National Assembly members, all our GC members that have all been individually acknowledged one by one. Thank you very, very much for coming out and for coming in large number. I also acknowledge the chairman of all our local governments that are also here through your chair of chair. I warmly acknowledge our traditional institutions that are here, several of them from the Ayongmure of Ikorodu to Onigondo of Igondo, from the Adegboruwa of Igbogbo to Onikosi of Ikosi, from Ranonu of Imota to Onikotun of Ikotun, from Oba of Ojokoro to Olu of Imushi. Let me give them a round of applause. From Monitire of Itire to Ketuelewu of Ewu Kingdom, from Olu of Agege to Alaige of Orile Agege. I want to acknowledge all of you. From Ojo of Ejigbo, I say, I bid you good tidings. Osolo, on korúkọ yín síbí yìí. Àbá mi ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́. Tí bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ mú pé kò ní tán 77 pages ní kíní yẹn. Thank you all very much. Please let's give our traditional institutions a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Acknowledge all of our captives of industry that are here. Thank you very much. Acknowledge all other stakeholders, CDC, CDA, WAWA, that are here. Thank you all very much. Heads of government agencies, our market men and women, all of our civil society groups, the youth groups that are here, great youth of Lagos State. Thank you very much for turning out in large number. Thank you all. People with disability, thank you very, very much. I acknowledge each and every one of you. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, gentlemen of the press. They said I forgot to acknowledge our party, from the chairman of our party to all of the party exco and all of the party leadership that are there. I acknowledge all of you, our various socio-cultural groups that are here. Thank you very, very, very much. Gentlemen of the press, very important stakeholders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, 25th of January 2024, makes it exactly 242 days into our second administration. Our second administration has a total of 1,460 days. And I keep telling you, we count the days, we count the months, because we are humbled that we're here. So in our second phase, we have done about 16% of our time. It's only a foolish man that will not know that time is the only thing you don't have. And there is no position you have in life. It is only for a chosen and a given time. We have done 16% of our second term. But in our 8-year journey, we have spent 1,702 days out of 2,920, meaning that we have done about 58% if you take an 8-year strength of our term. What that means is that we're not unmindful of the secrets of the mandate that you have given to us. We hold it in high esteem. We're humbled with it, Mr. Deputy and I, and we'll continue to do our very best because we count it on a daily basis. When we leave here, we want to be remembered for all of our interventions, humbly, that God has given to us. So on your behalf, on behalf of Mr. Deputy, I want to thank all Lagosians. I want to thank all of you, and I think you deserve a round of applause that you've given us this much time, space to flourish, to do well, and to change the course of mankind in Lagos. Today as well, we also want to acknowledge Almighty God for making it possible that through His benevolence, the former governor of the state now sits as the helm of affairs as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's also not to take for granted that at some point he was a governor, but now we see him as a man that God has destined to lead our country at this point. And so if I put it in proper context as well, Mr. President, too, have spent about 242 days because we got sworn in for the second time at the same time. But you can see that he's been pushing, he's been trudging, he's been doing things that will ensure that indeed his renewed hope agenda is on course, and we want to thank God for his life and wish him all the very best because indeed the country is going through difficult times right now. So Mr. President, we have your best wishes, we have your best regards at all times from all of us in Lagos. Today, waking up, we also have some great news to share with you. International organizations, one called the Time Out, one of the most reputable rating and ranking agencies in the world, has come out with a report of 50 top cities in the world. And guess what? They put Lagos, your Lagos, as number 20 for the year 2024 of all the top 50 cities in the world. It didn't stop that. Forbes also did similar things, and this report also came out yesterday. Forbes reckoned that Lagos is the number 19. These are not just things that we knew anything about. These are studies that people on their own have come into Lagos, have done research, have spoken to you Lagosians, have spoken to our international and local citizens, and they've come to a ranking that says that no matter how difficult it's been for us, no matter how challenging it has been, in the Committee of Nations, your Lagos, my Lagos, ranked up, and it's something that we need to acknowledge ourselves and thank ourselves and congratulate ourselves for this. Also to say to you with all sense of responsibility, just yesterday when I was with the American Secretary of State, he did mention some things to me, that he has been a keen watcher of the development of Lagos. Those are not words that men of his caliber will use loosely, or they will use without understanding the implication of it. And I encourage him to continue to put an eye on us, because they haven't seen anything yet. We are going to indeed build it bigger, build it bigger, and build it stronger. Because a Lagos story is an African success story. And an African success, a Nigerian success story, and a Nigerian success story is an African success story. And so we're impressed and we're committed that Lagos continue to lead on that trajectory to take the black race, to take Africa to international. Thank you very much. So we give God the glory. We give him all adoration. Today, still within the first month, to wish all of you the good tidings of the new year, and to welcome you to this first town hall meeting for 2024. I want to assure you that it will not just be a chip on the back. It's something that we'll be doing regularly, and we'll be taking to different parts and crannies of the state. We believe that it's only when we come out like this that we also can check and hear from you and listen to you and know what exactly are the things that you want us to do differently, and to also commend or to criticize us, and tell us these are the things that we should be doing, or these are the things that we should be doing differently. And so it gives us the privilege to render an account to the good people of Lagos, since we also sworn in 242 days ago. We've seen that despite the tough and audacious journey that we've seen, because we've been distracted, which commemorated about a week and a half ago, they took us all the way to Supreme Court to reconfirm and to validate, the mandate that you have given to Mr. Deputy and I. But we thank God that all of that is behind us now, and we have extended our hand of fellowship. We have extended our hand of coming together. If indeed everybody that has contested with us is about Lagos, then they have the opportunity also to come forward and let us solve and take Lagos further. And so we're hoping and we're expecting that everybody that thinks he has something to contribute, our doors are open and they can come and support and listen and work with our government. And so we thank God that God has revealed to us the grace to surmount all challenges. As a government, our commitment to the well-being of our citizens and to grow our state is resolute and unwavering. We remain dedicated to the success of implementing a lot of our pivotal projects. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have not rested on these oaths since you people of Lagos gave us that mandate. I often like to describe our second term as a season of doubling up. I want to assure you that this second term will work twice as fast, will work twice as much, will deliver twice as quickly than we did the first time. I want to move very, very fast. I want to acknowledge and appreciate all of you, but to achieve a lot more for agenda. We believe that it is still a life document. We believe that the Teams and the Teams Plus is still a working tool that we can use to change and to benefit the cause of our citizens. I will now speak to some of our tiptoe through some of the things that we have done and we're doing, so that I can give more time for questions, for interactive sessions, and for me to be able to sit back and just listen to you. It's not about what I've said. It's about listening to what you want to tell me. It's about taking feedback from you and all the questions and the clarifications that you might want, because it's only when you do that that we can indeed be on the same page. On the first pillar, which is transport and traffic management infrastructure, you know too well that the infrastructure challenges in Lagos is huge and undaunted, but they are surmountable, and we have started that process. We've delivered the first phase of our rail project, and we're happy and we're excited that that first phase is even in this senatorial district. Is it not so? You know, so when you take your rail from mile 2 and it's going all the way to Orile, it's still within the Lagos West Senatorial District. It just crosses the water to get to Lagos Central. So you are still the one that is enjoying the rail the most. The phase 2 of the rail further even goes into the Lagos West Senatorial District, because it will take you all the way back to Okokomaiko. Is that not all Lagos West? And Lagos West you are enjoying, you know. So you continue to see that this direct intervention is for your senatorial district, but it's for the city and for the state in a larger. Also to mention to you that we're hoping that Mr. President will come and help us commission the red line. It's in the month of February, and we have written officially to Mr. President that we're ready to commission the second train, which is the red line. And we're hoping that we can do it in the month of February. I think we deserve a round of applause. The red line similarly traverses a significant part of Lagos West, starting from Agbado. It will go past Iju, is in Lagos West, Agege is in Lagos West, Ikeja is Lagos West, Oshodi is Lagos West, Mushin is Lagos West. Kabiyesi Sheribe, but it will cross into Lagos Central when it gets to Yaba and Ebute Metta and Oyinbo. So that is not only just partial, that is Lagos West, West, West. We should let it also cross, you know, to some other parts. You know, there are other rails that we're doing. Don't worry, Lagos City have not forgotten you. You certainly cannot be forgotten. And so the green line and the purple line are going into Lagos East, which will go into the Bejuleki area, and it will go into the Ikorodu area. So you have not forgotten you at all. But today is about Lagos. Development is happening on that corridor. You have seen that also we've handed over a new flyovers from the one in Ikeja alone to the one in Oyinbo and the other one in Yaba. We should also be handing over the one in Mushin before end of February. I'm sure it's even almost completed now. We should just go and, you know, commission it, you know, as soon as possible before the entire red line comes into shape. You'll also agree with me that some of these interventions the rail will do is that it will help resolve all of gridlocks that we have in our city. We've been able to move a larger number of passengers on the rail, and we'll be able to do a lot more trips, you know, as we go along. The federal government is also supporting us, you know, to be able to acquire some additional rolling stock. Let's give them a round of applause for both the red line and the blue line. Lamata has started that conversation with our manufacturer, and very soon, before the end of the year, you will see new rolling stocks that are for red line, new rolling stocks that are for blue line on, you know, on the one-ways. The other interventions that we've also done, coincidentally too, in Lagos West is the Okpebi Mende Ojota Link Bridge, which is also within the Lagos West Senatorial District. But once it crosses from Odoyalaro to the other side, then they can say that it has gotten into Lagos East. But right now, it's still heavy construction on Lagos West. And this link bridge is meant to, you know, move traffic from 2-3 local governments, and within a short while, be able to connect and interconnect, you know, up onto the other side of Odoyalaro. And we believe this will also ease, you know, traffic management and traffic decongestion all around Toyin, Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Maryland, Ojota, Oregun, and the entire, nooks and crannies there. We also believe that that project alone, has about almost 100 new engineers that are working with Messrs. Julius Berger. There are new engineers that are being trained, IT students that are good, because it's only when they see, infrastructural development like that they also learn, and take the skills that they are being taught in their schools, take it to the field and see the benefits. So we believe that part of the things that we're doing on our transportation master plan is for us to enhance and improve all the 3 major traffic management solutions. We promise you an integrated urban mass transportation system that uses rail, that uses waterways, that uses road, BRT road. Before the end of February, in fact, the ferries are ready. We're commissioning additional 12 ferries that will be handing over. I don't know if it is going to be large ferry that will hand it over, or will be private operators that will hand it over. The ferries have been completed. They are doing water testing right now, and each one of them can carry between 35 to 40 passengers on our waterways. This will complement about 20-something other ferries that we have procured, that we're currently using, so that we can decongest the road and take people to also use our waterways more. Large Ferry wants to collect everything, but we're sure that we want to open it up to other private operators so that everybody has the benefit of it. The Large Ferry is also being used, with the contactless cowrie card, which is a card that we're using on our bus system, is a card that we're using on our train networks, and it's also the card that we're using on our waterways. And so with the simple cowrie cards, Lagos has delivered on our integrated urban mass transportation system. And today, over 4 million Lagosians are carrying the blue cowrie cards, and they are commuting from different parts of the city, to be able to continue to enjoy the services that we are currently enjoying. It's also the era of renewable energy, and also the era of EVs, electric vehicles, and CNG vehicles. Before the end of this year, the federal government will be handing over to us about 150 CNG buses, but we on our own are making plans to procure between 1,000 and 1,500 CNG buses, which are the new mode of transportation. It will improve quality, of air pollution, reduce consumption, of greenhouse emission, which is some of the conversations that came out from our COP 28 or is it 29 that we went for. And these are some of the new ways in which the cities are being adjudged and are being, profiled with other major cities of the world. So Lagos will certainly not carry last. We're working with some of our investors to be able to bring CNG buses and electric vehicles, and electric buses into our city. And like we said, before the end of 2024, you should be plying on our roads a lot of our CNG buses and a lot of our EV buses. We believe this will help us reduce our greenhouse emission, and our vision to have a zero carbon emission by year 2050 will be on track. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's also important that I mention, because I know people are going to ask me questions around the Fourth Mainland Bridge, and that what are you doing, Mr. Governor? We've been hearing this, we've been talking about it from Lekki all the way to Ikorodu. Kabiyesi Ayangbunmi of Ikorodu kept asking me when is going to happen. What has happened is we've done extensive work. We've done extensive work on the bridge and on the road. But we're at the crossroad where to get the real financing out of that kind of a project, we need to be very, very creative. But we thank God because we have reached, the last final dot of the construction. Our commitment is that within this first quarter, meaning that by the end of March or April, we should break grounds to start the construction of the 4th Mainland Bridge. It's going to be built in phases. The phase 1 will be from the junction in Abraham Adesoya all the way to the waterfront that we have at Badore, right? And I'm using this opportunity to also say that we have done extensive study. So you cannot get a new road without needing to do a bit of discomfort. But we will ensure that we compensate everybody that their property or their businesses will be disturbed by this new construction. But it's going to be along existing corridors, so there will be few buildings that will be touched. But I want to assure you that not only will the landlord be paid full compensation, places where we have tenants as well too, we'll ensure that we also compensate them, and we'll ensure that nobody is unduly, taken advantage of. So that will be the first phase. The phase 2 of it will be the bridge crossing, which will be from the waterfront in Ado all the way to Ibeshe in Ikorodu. And the third phase will now take us through all the way to Italewa Junction, all the way from Ibeshe. And eventually, if it is this government, another government, will take it all the way to Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. That is how the 4th Mainland, which is a total of 37 kilometers, will meander all throughout Lagos. But we've broken it down into phases so that we can take the water, we can take a bit of so that we can, take it in doses that we can measure it, and each of the phases will be open, for traffic management, so for transportation benefit, and people can begin to use it. And it's not it's not anything new. For some of you that remember, when the federal government was building the 3rd Mainland Bridge, they didn't do 3rd Mainland Bridge from all the way up to Oworoshoki. We did it, and we did a first detour and went on to Ebute Metta, Abibeko, and that's federal government, before they came back again and did from Ebute Metta all the way to Oworoshoki. And so that's the kind of smart development that we want to do. We don't want to give excuses, but we want to start, and want to start like yesterday, so that Lagosians can indeed know that the 4th Mainland Bridge is real, and it's something that they'll begin to enjoy in the months and in the years ahead. It's also important for me to mention, as part of the big things that we're making commitments to, that we also want to build, a new airport on the Lekki axis. Conversations have also gone on very advanced stage. We've done a lot of due diligence, we've done a lot of feasibility and viability studies, and we're just at the point where we need to be able to put the financing, structure perfectly with our identified concessionaire and partners. And I want to assure you too that the road, the runway construction and all of the roads leading into the airport will also be starting very, very soon. Unfortunately, the airport is not in Lagos West, it's in Lagos East. And so at least Lagos East people have something that they also can see and believe that is working well for them. So my assurance for the town hall, here today, is that the conversation has gone very advanced stage, and we're committed that this airport, once it's completed, should be moving close to 3 to 4 million passengers, on a yearly basis, and be able to compete with the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. We've also done a few new interventions, on the road construction. And I think my list of the new roads is there. Mr. Deputy, please let me just road so that they know that they are real. Thank you. Within this senatorial district, we've completed almost 70 kilometers of new roads, with over 2 kilometers of bridges. And the roads that I'm talking about, from the Penn Cinema to the Ishuti Road, to Ishekun, Camp David Road, to F1 Laye Road in Alimosho, to construction of Abule Ado Road in Amuwo, to Akinde Adetiba Road in Ifako, all the way like that. But to say to you that all of these other ones have over 42 roads, that we've completed, and all of them are listed. But to mention the ones that are ongoing, in the second phase of our government, the construction of Babafemi Dada with a bridge, which is being done by CCCC, and the construction of Akeson Igodo Road, which is being done by Winchino, the replacement of Ijegun Ije-Ododo with the construction of Ijegun Ije-Ododo Road by Oceanic Construction, the construction of Abaranja Road in Alimosho, the construction of Ilieja Olaye with a bridge, at Rabia to Ogedengbe Road, the construction of Lagos Badagry, that which is the final segment on that, the reconstruction of Irede Road in Amuwo, the construction of Hospital Road in Badagry, the construction and completion of Samuel Ekundayo Road, also in Badagry, the construction of Aradagun Musafejo Idodo Imeko Road, also in Badagry, the construction of Abiola Onigemo Link Road and Bridge in Ifako-Ijaye. Of course, the Okwebi Link Bridge, which I had mentioned, all of the roads that we have in Ikeja axis here, which I'm sure we are completing, Shuba Arobiodo, Odudua Way, Odudua Crescent, Shashegbon, the access road at Oregun, the construction of Akakemberi Road, and there are several others, construction of reinforced concrete bridge at Iriwe, Ilo Basa Road, all of the new constructions we want to do in Antony, inside Antony, Ajao Estate, Johnson, Umaji Roads, right, all inside Ajao Estate, I can go on and on. These are all roads development within the Lagos, West Senatorial District. In Agege, there's several, Olamekon Road, Olanrewaju, Dokas, Morayo, Okoba, Ajaibe, Adebola, Aino Aika, Orile Agege, Fagbola Road, and all of it, all within the construction that they are doing in the various parts, of the city. I will move quickly to our next pillar, which is under the health scheme. I'm sure you are aware that the general hospital that we're building in Ojo is also nearing completion. In that whole axis, we have not been able to put, a general hospital there, and I'm happy that the Ojo General Hospital, which is a 280-bed, is nearing completion, and we should complete it before the end of this year. We have constructed and completed the Badagry, Mother and Child Hospital, which has been handed over. We have worked with some of our local government and have also improved 2 additional hospitals, one in Amuwo and the other one is in Ajeromi Feludun, which are currently being used. But more importantly is to mention that we have started, and work has gone, and to a very large extent at the psychiatric mental hospital in Ketueriun in Ekpe, which is a 500-bed. The new children's hospital at Mercy is also going on very well. I mean, you saw some of the construction and some of the pictures, whilst they were showing it to you. But I think more importantly, even outside of all the interventions that we're doing in health, we're building, the infectious disease center, we're rehabilitating Isolo General Hospital, Ebute Meta, Harvey Road. We're building doctors' quarters in Bagada. We're building in Isolo, and all of it. For me, one of the most decisive things that we've done in that sector is a reform that we've brought about within this second phase of our government. On a one clean sweep, we unbundled the entire primary health scheme, and we appointed 7 new permanent secretaries in that ministry to be able to oversee, all of our policies and all of our intervention in the health sector. I think this single act of our government, is not only, in our view, commendable, but it has changed the entire scope of how we view health access and health implementation. And I know that all of the needed support, that our communities require at that level The new permanent secretaries are doing that. They are doing it fully well, because they have the authority and they have what it takes to be able for them to do the job and do it well. But the important information that I also want to say again is that we've realized that in health, we need to be able to scale up and be able to have an ability to have more health practitioners in our system. We don't want to give excuses that our medical practitioners they are jaloping, what do we call them? They are japaing. We want to be able to recreate as many as possible. So I'm bringing a memo to the state cabinet, and I'll tell them in advance that we're going to be establishing a new medical university for Lagos State. It will be the first medical university that will get an approval from Nigerian University Commission for us to have a University of Medical Sciences where we can train and bring a lot more doctors, a lot more nurses, a lot more pharmacists, physiotherapists, and everything that we require in that sector. We cannot sit back and fold our arms and see our health facilities, our health personnel, being put, on this pressure. Within the last 3 years, KBS, you remember that we set up 2 additional state universities, the University of Science and Tech, in Ikorodu, and the University of Education in Ijaniki. This will be another state university, but it's going to be a university only for medical sciences, and I think that's another first for us, and we're excited and happy that we're going to put resources on the table so that we can not only build infrastructure, which we're doing in health with all of the hospitals I'm talking about, not only bring processes by ensuring that we can appoint more permanent secretaries, they can have an hands-on, but we can also strategically, start ensuring that our children can have an opportunity to go into the health practice profession and be able to come out as new medical doctors, as new nurses, as new pharmacists, as new dental health personnel, and we can have health, accessible, affordable in all nooks and crannies of our state. That is our objective, to be able to, ensure that we can improve, our health coverage within our system. I must also emphasize that we're stretching our health personnel. During our 3-4 months ago, when we're part of our palliatives, that we said that we want to be rendering free antenatal care to a lot of our pregnant women. I know it was a stretch on our health practitioners, but they've been responding very well. They've been given the service very well, and I'm excited and I'm happy with what we're doing. The Ilera Eco health insurance scheme too is also another intervention that we believe that is now a first-line charge in our budget. So the capitation on a monthly basis, Lashman does not need to wait for STO to give them their checks. It's now a first-line charge, and the monies will go for the health insurance of the vulnerable in our society on a monthly basis. We're working collaboratively with the private sector, because what the health insurance is supposed to do is, you are not meant to come only to the government hospitals. The private hospitals that are also working with us, you also can go there and get the relevant, service that is required, and on the end of the month basis, capitations will be done and payments will be made to the relevant, private hospitals. That way, you can see that health services will be accessible more even at the grassroots level. It's important for me to mention that we are also looking at how are we going to help our small and medium scale businesses. How do we ensure that poverty alleviation is real, and how do we intervene? I want to assure you that in this current administration, in this current financial year, we're setting aside a total fund of about 50 billion for poverty alleviation, for MSME support, for new businesses support, and part of these monies will not only just be soft loans, will also be grants that will be given. And I want to tell you publicly that my first promise when we open the new food market in Mushin, by the way, is also in Lagos West Senatorial, the one that we opened 2 months ago, I did promise that we want to start that intervention by supporting 15,000 market men and women. I'm glad to announce to you that we have identified the total 15,000, and we have chosen a date of February 13 or 14, where each and every one of them will be given a grant of 50,000 naira as a direct support as our own intervention of trader money in the in that sector of our market men and market women. Ministry of Agri and Ministry of Wealth Creation are jointly working on this initiative. So we'll continue to ensure that our vocational centers are active and are proactive and are pragmatic to understand what are the needs of our people and be able to alleviate poverty. Just a couple of days ago, WAPA graduated about another 5,000 or 4,000, people at the Blue Roof, and all of them were given support. They were all given different equipment for them to be able to start up their businesses, and we're happy that in the last 3.5 years, we've supported over 16,000 youth, in our various vocational centers. And we're not going to just be leaving them. We're monitoring them and we'll be following up, with them. All of these things are done at the free of charge by the state government to ensure that we can, hand over these relevant skills, to each and every one of them. We're happy with the intervention that I talked about. The House of Assembly approved for us a 50 billion social protection in our 2024 budget. And I want to assure you that these funds will be utilized judiciously, identifying all of the needed vulnerable citizens that we need to help and take out of poverty. On the tourism space, within the last couple of months, we laid the foundation for the Lagos Film City in Lagos East Senatorial now, in K2 Ejirin in Ekpe. The conversations is advancing, and we're believing that the real construction on site will start very, very soon. We are also seeing a lot of support that government wants to give to that industry. We want to identify skills, we want to identify people that have the raw talent in that industry, and part of our intervention is for us to be able to help them with training. Training is what they require, help them open up, to various training opportunities. And we've identified 4 training organizations that we're using in our first term in office. They will continue to work with them. And it's interesting to see that even here from Lagos, records are being broken. New movies are getting to high levels, at the box offices. I've also gone ahead to watch Judah Abi. Judah. Tribe of Judah. Let's give a round of applause for Funke Akindele and all of them. Toyin Abraham, Messi, they are all our citizens here in Lagos, and all of the things that they're doing. We're indeed very happy, with that sector, that industry, and all of the various. We had a wonderful session in December. December is always a time when all of our diaspora population come to Lagos. And I want to say to us that this last December was adjudged as one of our very best in recent times. People came, people had the needed enjoyment, and there were no recorded incidents anywhere because we're monitoring it from security perspective. Everybody came, everybody had their needed enjoyment, the tourisms were open, and a lot of our diasporan citizens and children, some of them have gone back, and some will give you positive news that Lagos was indeed very, very safe and peaceful. And so we're not surprised with the ranking and the ratings that is coming out, as Lagos being one of the best and safest city that they will be seeing throughout 2024. So Ministry of Tourism, well done for that, and congratulations, for doing the job well done, and all of our security operatives as well. Thank you very, very much. And I think it's important for me to re-emphasize that there is no big city in the world that succeeds without ensuring that adequate funding is given to security. And so for us, security is everything. We'll continue to say to all of our various stakeholders, our CDC, our CDA, if you see something, you say something. And for me, we'll continue to support the Lagos State Security Trust Fund. We've given a commitment and a promise that we're going to help them refleet their vehicles. About 300 new vehicles will be procured, in the course of the last couple of months. We also opened and handed over to them the new area commander at Idimu, right? We handed over an area M in Idimu. We just recently constructed it for the Nigerian police. I think the Commissioner of Police is here, right? And we're happy with what they're doing. Lagos will continue to remain, the commercial economic nerve center of our country based on the security architecture that we currently have. And I want to commend and thank all of our security operatives for continuing to keep the city safe and secure, because we all can sleep with our two eyes open. At the last town hall meeting we held in December, we listened to all of the comments that were rolled out by our various security operatives, and they got the necessary accolade and commendation. We have continued to ask citizens to support the Lagos State Security Trust Fund. I'm sure you know there are Lagosians that have shown that support, with one of your sons donating 1 billion already, where our doors are open for others to follow suit and support the state government, support the fund as a means of ensuring that security is everybody's business, and Lagos State will continue to ensure that we support the Lagos State Police Command, we support all of our other security operatives for Lagos to continue to remain home, safe and secure to all of our citizens. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's important that I also mention to us for the first time, and I mentioned this during our New Year Thanksgiving service, that our civic responsibility, as a people, is very important. All of the interventions and the things that we want to do going forward is only when we work together, collaboratively, as government, as citizens, knowing fully well that we all have a responsibility, that we can see a Lagos that we'll be truly proud of. And so I want to enjoin you once again, to ensure that the funding, the taxes, the levies that you pay to us, is for us to be able to do the difficult job that you have asked us to continue to do for you. So please, make sure that you support us at paying your taxes regularly. Your fees and all your levies, please do, and do it responsibly. We also want to plead to say to people not to break the laws. The laws, as simple as traffic laws, as simple as disposal of wastes, are things that continues to increase our cost of governance. The other day, and with all sense of responsibility, when I had an incident about a month ago with an operative of one of our security, and some people criticized and said that we didn't do our job well. Very unfortunate. In the same spot, within 2 weeks, there was an accident on that same spot. Somebody walking and flying on one way. We lost 3 lives. 3 lives. On Okada. People were being cut on the same spot. I don't need to mention. There was an oncoming trailer that hit people that were carrying passengers, and that's the message we're trying to pass on to the people, that your life will be at risk if you are driving or riding against the traffic. Because the real traffic user, the real owner of the might not, be in a position to move away from you. 3 lives were lost within a week and a half of that incident. So we're not just out to condemn anybody. We're out to encourage ourselves. We're out to ensure that we do the right thing at all times. And so that's one of the things that I want to leave with us here again today. If we don't take anything away, take away the fact that when you break the law, you are hurting us and you are hurting everybody. When you don't do the right thing, you are making governance a lot difficult for us. But when we take this message, when we take it home, And let's continue to remain, civil, law-abiding, and have a civic responsibility. It reduces the cost of governance, and it gives us the opportunity to be able to even do a lot more for you. I want to enjoin you. I want to encourage you. I want to plead with you. That's the only way we can build the greater Lagos of our dream. That's the only way we can build a Lagos that respects and appreciates one another, and everybody knows that the right person or the next person will do the right thing, knowing fully well that you yourself will do the right thing at all times. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think I can continue because my speech is just so long, but I want to sit back and listen. Like I said, it shouldn't be me talk. It is me listening, taking feedback, and listening to you, and you correcting us, encouraging us, and telling us what are the things that you want and how do you want it, and what are the things that you believe that we're doing well, and what ones that we should continue. And so, as I want to conclude my speech, let me again acknowledge that there are tough times ahead. And it's everywhere. It is everywhere. It is what we say of our own that people will hear. A lot of other countries don't talk negative about their country. They don't say things that are uncomplimentary about their own, because they also know that internally they have their issues. And so we're not immune, we're not unaware. And once we realize that everything that is happening, at a time when the global economic issues are prevalent everywhere, we will surmount it. We will solve it together. We should not shy away from acknowledging the reality of our time. Mr. President, he's doing his best. Will continue to do his best. And we in Lagos will continue to remain a shining example of what purposeful, accountable governance is all about. And I want to explain and assure you that there is definitely light down the tunnel, and we're moving out of it in all spheres of life. Is it in our schools? We've built more schools in the last 4 years than we've done in the last 8 years prior. We've built more hospitals in the last 4 years than in the last 8 years prior. The records are there. We have intervened almost in all spheres of life. And so we want to do it for the next 3.5 years. We want to even do it faster and quicker for you. We want to ensure that even if it is on a garden that LASPA is tendering for us, that we keep it well. That if it's on a road that we're doing for you, we'll get in there and we'll clean it up and we'll come out of it well. And that's what we're committing to. And that's what we're about. And so when environment goes out and says that it's cleaning the right of way, it's because it wants to keep your future. And the future is that we don't want drainage, when rain comes, to sweep out all our buildings. The right of way for the drainage channels have been set. We know that we're a coastal state. We know that in some parts we're beneath the sea level. So we need to be able to stay and understand that when we have drainage right of way, it is for us to be able to take the waters when they come. And some people have turned it into structures they built on it. We will not allow or condone it. These are some of the measures that are being tested to determine the livability standard of our state and our city. And so I just want to encourage all the citizens, you my great Lagosians, that we will not stop at anything to ensure that your aspiration for a greater Lagos is achieved. We want to tell you that you should not despair, because we believe that better times are ahead of us. We want to thank God. We want to thank all of you. We want to say that when we work collaboratively, there's a lot that we can achieve together. We'll continue to work with the central government. We'll continue to work with all the agencies of the federal government, because quite a number of them are also opening up to us. We'll continue to work with them. We'll continue to ensure that the greatest good is for the greatest number. And whatever it is that you want us to do differently, we'll listen to you. We'll take your comments, and we'll be able to become better managers of your resources and better leaders that you have asked us at this time to be. Thank you very much.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká fún gómìnà wa ní àtẹ́wọ́. Wọ́n ti bá wa sọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ lórí àwọn iṣẹ́ ìdàgbàsókè ọlọ́kùn òjọ̀kan tí ìṣàkóso wọn ti mú ṣe. Pàápàá jùlọ lẹ́nu òjìlélúgba ó lé ọjọ́ méjì tí wọ́n ti lò ní sáà kejì yìí. Wọ́n wá ní ẹkùn ìdìbò tá a ti ń jíròrò lónìí. Ká tiẹ̀ máa kíra wa kú oríire ní kíkí ìtẹ̀kọ́. Ká máa sọ pé mo yọ̀ fún ẹ, mo yọ̀ fúnra mi. Torí ọ̀kan òjọ̀kan iṣẹ́ ìdàgbàsókè ló ti jẹyọ ní agbègbè yìí. Ṣé ti ojúnà ọkọ̀ ojú irin blue line àbí red line ní ká sọ ni, àbí ti ọkọ̀ ojú omi ìrìnnà rẹ̀ tí gbogbo ẹ̀ ń já gerege. Kódà ẹ̀yin olùgbé ẹkùn ìdìbò ìlà oòrùn ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó, ẹ̀yin náà máa kó ojú lọ́nà o, torí gómìnà ti gbé sí wa létí wípé láìpẹ́ jọjọ green line àti purple line á fojú hàn níbẹ̀. Wọ́n tún wá ń kí gbogbo wa pátá nípínlẹ̀ Èkó pé a kú ojú lọ́nà o. Fásitì ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ ìmọ̀ ìṣègùn òyìnbó tí ìṣàkóso wọn yóò gbé kalẹ̀, èyí tí yóò fòpin sí ọ̀dá àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ oníṣègùn òyìnbó láwùjọ wa. Yàtọ̀ sílẹ̀ yìí, ọ̀kan òjọ̀kan ìrónilágbára ni wọ́n ti ṣe fún àwọn ọ̀dọ́, àwọn obìnrin, àwọn opó. Wọ́n wá ní béèyàn bá dákẹ́ tàrí àbá dákẹ́ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ààbò láàrin ìlú. Ojúṣe tèmi tìrẹ ni bó o bá rí ohunkóhun tètè sọ̀rọ̀ síta. Kódà wọ́n béèrè fún àtìlẹ́yìn gbogbo wa pé àgàn níṣẹ́ ìdàgbàsókè ìlú kò ṣeé dágbé fún ẹnikẹ́ni. Wọ́n rọ̀ wá pé ohun tó lè mú kí ètò ìjọba kó múnádóko òun ni pé kí tèmi tìrẹ ká tẹ̀lé òfin tí ìjọba bá gbé kalẹ̀ fún àǹfààní ara wa ni. Má gàn kadà lórí afárá, má gàn kadà lójúnà márosẹ̀. Àwọn tó pàdánù ẹ̀mí wọn ta ni wọ́n fẹ́ bá rojọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká pa òfin ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó mọ́, a máa júṣe fún gbogbo wa. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó.
Thank you very much, Peter. Mr. Governor, sir, the Deputy Governor, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Sir, with your kind permission, we'll take some testimonials from some of those who have benefited from some of the programs of your administration. But before then, with your kind permission, sir, we have distributed a feedback form to all our guests here. Please ensure that you fill the forms. They will be taken, and Mr. Governor will reply to all the requests and suggestions you might make on them. Let me also inform us that for our social media platforms, you can join us. Lagos State Government is on Facebook. The address is at follow LASG. Likewise on Instagram, the address is at Lagos State Government. The government is spelled as GOVT. It's a single word. Likewise on X, which used to be known as Twitter, the address is at follow LASG. All the proceedings here are going on those platforms. Don't forget this feedback form. Ensure that we fill it and we submit before we end this program. Mr. Governor, sir, with your kind permission, from the Ministry of Wealth Creation, I will invite Mr. Abiola Adepoju to step forward and give his testimonial. Each one of you has just 2 minutes. Mr. Abiola Adepoju.
Ká farabalẹ̀ gbọ́ ìjẹ́rìí láti ẹnu àwọn ènìyàn wa lórí ọ̀kan òjọ̀kan iṣẹ́ ìdàgbàsókè ìlú.
Abiola Adepoju.
Tí gómìnà wa àti àwọn ọmọ ìgbìmọ̀ wọn ń gbéṣe fún ìtẹ̀síwájú ohun ìdàgbàsókè ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó.
If he's not here, the next person is Mrs.
Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Abiola Adepoju, ẹ ṣe kíákíá. Kí ẹni tí ó kàn lẹ́yìn wọn náà máa múra sílẹ̀.
Let me also call Mrs. Kehinde Ajiri. Please come outside from Civic Engagement. Odeyale Olasunbo Tolulope, please come out. Let me also call Akanimodo Bukola. Please, as I call your names, please come outside. Let me also call Mr. Uche Goodson from WAPA, as well as Mrs. Fumilayo Afuye. Your testimony, I have just 2 minutes, please.
Good afternoon all. My name is Adepo Abiola from Lagos State Shoemakers Association. On behalf of the Lagos State Shoemakers Association, I express my profound gratitude to our able and resilient Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for the great privilege of the 2022 on-skill capacity program for artisans and tradesmen in Lagos State. This capacity building is an eye-opener and has helped me in the area of expansion. The training has equally expanded the faculty of my understanding of handling my business in different dimensions better than the way I do it. And 3 of my students undergoing training free of charge, both the female and the male. Furthermore, it's a great opportunity and a privilege for me as a member of the Lagos State Shoemakers Association. And once again, I appreciate our governor and the Ministry of Wealth Creation and Employment for all their unwavering effort towards the growth and the improvement of all artisans and technicians in Lagos State, both the tradesmen and artisans. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back from the live telecast. We'll now continue with our regular programs. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teachers.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
All right, thank you for staying with us. I still have with me Mrs. Mojisola Boyadeko. She's an assistant director, relationship management unit at the LRS. Speaking sense to us about all of this tax filing and all of that. Let me take you now to that question on you've now embraced digital platforms for filing. Now, you were talking about what it was like before now. What was it like?
Like I mentioned earlier, it was quite tedious, it was inconvenient, and you have to work with the fact that we're open at 8 and we close at 5. That's how it was before. And then, you know, because we embrace African time to an extent, so you can, and we are, you know, you have a situation where people will now besiege our offices towards the end of the time that it's about to close. So you can imagine how inconvenient the rush, and you can imagine
and
you go to
timeline.
Yes, and then you can imagine going to an office, you want to have a transaction, and then you meet a queue there. So it wasn't really convenient. But what we have on ground now is that filing is everywhere. It's going everywhere in the country. But the thing there is that if you have your head office in Abuja, for example, you don't have to send someone down to Lagos to file. You can do it online. You've saved the cost of tickets. You've saved the cost of transportation. And then we know we're operating a paperless environment. Yeah. So it's very, very convenient. You don't have to now start printing, especially for those that have 3,000 staff, and making all these kind of corrections. And even if you have your head office, for example, in South Africa, you don't have to come down. You can do it online from there. So that is the essence of the fact. That's why we have gone electronic. We're no longer into paper filing that obtains in other states.
Interesting stuff. Now, let's talk about the deadline. Tell us about the deadline of filing the tax returns with the LRS and the process of requesting extensions, if there is any need.
Okay, so, you also mentioned it earlier when you were introducing LRS to the, on the platform. 31st of January is the deadline.
Okay.
Today is the 25th.
So we have 6 days to go.
So we have 6 days to go. And we expect that because it's seamless and there's no issue whatsoever, there is no extension that can be granted because we don't have that statutory right or legal obligation to do so. So everyone has to try as much as possible to be 100% compliant by the end of this month. We'll have concluded filing of returns. And it's not just the payee that we're filing. We're also filing for direct assessments. This is for the individuals. So their deadline is the 31st of March. They can start filing now. Okay. So when it comes to direct assessment, filing for individuals, it is the employee income, professional income, like profits you generate from business, vocations, trading, and professionals in the sense that lawyers, doctors, proprietors of school, whatever income they are earning, they are supposed to declare and file their returns on our platform.
Now, there are some common mistakes we hear of when businesses are making filings. Now, how can they be avoided?
Okay, basically, it's very important that when we're filing the returns, there's a particular template that is used.
Okay.
So you download that template and then you now upload. It's called the CSV template. So we're not supposed to upload with Excel or upload with Word. Then we also have a situation where where we're supposed to ensure that we use the actual income for those who didn't spend up to a year in employment. So, for example, if you only spend 6 months as a staff of a particular organization and the salary is 1.2, what you indicate when you're filing your returns is 1.2 million, not 2.4. You don't gross it up. Okay. So those are the basic little things that we have to ensure that we don't miss out when we're filing. And then the most important is to ensure that the pay ID that is used is the correct pay ID of that staff. So we shouldn't transpose the pay ID for Tolu, for example, and exchange it for Moji. It has to relate to the tax profile of the individual and the NIM profile of the individual, the BVM profile, so everything should align.
That's interesting. But the payment process after filing taxes with LRS, how does it work?
Well, we expect all payments should have been done before filing. Because it should have been concluded, yes, because we're expecting that salaries will have been paid in December. So you pay the salaries in December, so definitely by the 10th of January, you should have done your remittance and made all your payments. However, if for any issue, when you're doing your filing, you observe that a mistake has been made. Like I mentioned, we have an e-tax profile for every individual, and LRS has an e-tax administration system that is completely digital. So you can make your payments on the platform. Just like we have the returns module on the platform where you can file your returns, you can also make your payments on the same platform.
Well, during this period, of course, the taxpayers will require support from the LRS. So I'm now asking, how can businesses easily reach out in case they need that support so that all of these complications don't come up?
Okay, so like we have our platform, etax.lrs.net. So on that platform, once you sign in, once you're registered, there is a customer service pop-up customer service digital assistant that will come up. That if you ask any questions online, then we also have our numbers, the customer care numbers that we use, 0700 22 555 477. You can also use those numbers to contact us.
Again, that number, please.
0700
okay.
22 555-477. You can use that number to contact us. Then you can also contact us on Instagram, our Facebook page, and Twitter handles. Then most importantly, for those who are not really that tech savvy, they can walk into any of the tax stations. There are dedicated desks to ensure that we assist more or less our customers. We call them our customers or our partners, to ensure that they file their returns.
Indeed, they say taxpayer is the king. Are we paying the tax? We are the king.
No. We're not the king. Like I said, customers or our partners.
They are the king. Yeah, the taxpayers. Yeah. That's something. We're saying the same thing. Now, let me ask you the big question. What are the penalties for businesses who fail to file their returns on time? Or for those who fail to file at all? What happens to them?
So aggressively asking that question. Okay, so the most important thing for an employer is for them to understand first and foremost that when they file, it is easy for their employees to file, especially those employees that only have employment income. Okay. So when they file, the employees too can also file and can generate their tax clearance certificates. So when you do not file, the worst penalty is your employee suffers for this. And you know these tax clearance certificates, we use them for those of us that have children in public schools, FX transactions, you want to conclude on your building, you require permits, you want to do registration of your vehicle, you want to run for office, you have a transaction you want to for government, and there are some multinational organizations that will always ask for the level of your tax, your compliance, and even when you want to apply for your visa or whatever transaction you want to have. So that is the greatest penalty of all to your employees. But aside that, legally, we have under Section 94, 95, 96, there are some sanctions, financial sanctions against those that default. And it can even include conviction, 6 months conviction. Wow. Yes, if taken to court and found guilty of running foul of the law. Then you have to also have to recognize that an employer, for example, should actually be focusing on his primary business, time value of money. So you don't need to engage yourself in court action where LRS already has a directorate of lawyers, and that is their KPI for us to submit the list of defaulters for them to go after. So you don't need all that. So it's better for you to just not run foul of the law and do what you need to do.
Interesting. Following the